Hello, my name is Farrah Saunders with the Racial Justice Collaborative, and this is Wealth from Slavery, the Interconnectedness of Northern Textile Mills and Southern Slavery. Welcome to our presentation on the connections between Southern slavery and Northern industries such as textile mills. Today, we will explore how the exploitation of enslaved African Americans and immigrant labor fueled America's economic growth. Our case study focuses on the Dwight Manufacturing Company of Chicopee, Massachusetts. By examining this relationship, we aim to understand how these two regions were economically interdependent and the moral implications of this connection. To begin, let's look at the foundation of cotton production in the South. Enslaved African Americans were the backbone of this industry, working tirelessly in brutal conditions. The invention of the cotton gin by Eli Whitney in 1793 completely revolutionized the cotton production process, increasing the demand for slave labor. This innovation turned cotton into a major export crucial for the Southern economy and global trade. This profitability of cotton significantly shaped the South's economy, politics, and society. Next, we turn our focus to the North. Northern merchants and financiers played a significant role in the transatlantic slave trade. Ships from northern ports transported goods to Africa, traded for human lives, and brought enslaved people across the Middle Passage back over to the Americas. Northern businesses insured enslaved people and manufactured products made with resources harvested by enslaved hands, perpetuating the cycle of bondage. This trade was the central crux of the economic engine that drove both the northern and southern economies. Moving forward, let's examine how the Industrial Revolution transformed the North. The emergence of industrial powerhouses in states like Massachusetts and Rhode Island, beyond simply textile mills, such as banking, shipbuilding, and the insurance industries, were all intertwined with Southern economy through the South's production of raw resources via slave labor. In regards to banking, Northern banks provide financial services supporting the South's economy, including financing plantations and the cotton trade. In regards to shipbuilding, the maritime industry, particularly in Rhode Island, played a dominant role in transatlantic slave trade, including ships that were used for transportation of slaves, as well as major ports of entrance for slaves being brought back over towards northeastern states and cities such as Providence. And in regards to insurance, Northern insurance companies underwrote policies on enslaved individuals, ensuring financial stability for Southern slave owners. These industries, built on the foundations of Southern slavery, contributed to the skyrocketing wealth and development of the northern states of New England and the tri-state area. Now, let's discuss the crucial role of textile mills and the economic development of the United States. Particularly in the 19th century, textile mills transformed the country from an agricultural society into an industrial one. Immigrants, drawn by economic opportunities, became a crucial part of the workforce in these mills, contributing significantly to the industry's growth and profitability despite the low wages and difficult working conditions. Focusing on the northern mills, they were more than just economic entities. They are the lifeblood of many communities. Towns such as Lowell in Massachusetts and Chicopee became synonymous with textile production, employing thousands of workers, many of whom were European immigrants from impoverished countries such as Ireland and southern Italy, who were seeking a new life. These mills provided housing, built schools, and established churches, creating self-sustaining communities thriving on the industrial boom. As we narrow our focus to Chicopee, Massachusetts, we see a beacon of industrial progress in New England. The Dwight Manufacturing Company, a textile mill at the heart of Chicopee's transformation, epitomized the North's industrial might. Fueled by the raw cotton picked by enslaved hands in the South, the economic success of Chicopee underscores the deep interdependence between Northern industrial centers and Southern slave labor. Founded in the 1830s, the Dwight Manufacturing Company was strategically situated near the Chicopee River, leveraging the river's water power to drive its machinery via water wheels. The mill quickly grew to become one of the largest and most advanced textile factories in its day. It provided a significant role in the local economy, providing employment opportunities and attracting many young women known as factory girls who were drawn by the promise of steady wages. The company's success depended on cotton picked by enslaved labor in the South, again exemplifying the interconnectedness between Northern industrial growth and Southern slavery. Focusing on the workforce, the success of the Dwight Manufacturing Company was built on the hard work and dedication of its factory girls, often recruiting from local farming communities and neighboring states. These young women sought steady wages and a chance to help support their families, working long hours under very challenging conditions. Despite the hardships, the factory girls played a crucial role in the mill's operations and the broader industrial economy. Transitioning to the moral and social implications, the relationship between Southern slavery and Northern mills had profound consequences. The wealth and progress of the nation were built on the backs of enslaved people, raising severe ethical questions. Northern society, despite its industrial advancements, was complicit in the perpetuating of slavery, creating a moral conflict as the abolitionist movement gained momentum in the North. Additionally, the use of child labor in northern mills contributed to brutal conditions, further complicating the ethical landscape of America's economic development. Continuing, Southern cotton was the raw material that kept northern mills running. With profits from cotton production invested in northern infrastructure, railroads crisscrossed the nation, funded by wealth generated from cotton. Banks and insurance companies grew rich by underwriting southern plantations and insuring enslaved people as property. This economic interdependence fueled the growth of a national economy built on the exploitation of enslaved labor and supported by northern industrial advancements. Looking at the broader picture, profits from slavery and related industries helped fund prestigious schools in the Northeast, including Harvard, Columbia, Princeton, and Yale. In many southern states, including the University of Virginia, enslaved people literally built college campuses and served faculty and students. The labor and profits derived from slavery also contributed to the development of cities like Washington, D.C., where enslaved people were integral to the construction and maintenance of key infrastructure and buildings. Shifting to the Civil War, this brutal conflict from 1861 to 1865 was a turning point in the dark alliance between North and South. The war tore the nation apart, pitting the North against the South over the future of slavery and of the Union. The Southern states, which produced 75% of the world's cotton, fought to maintain their way of life, which was completely dependent on slavery to maintain this stranglehold. The North, though morally conflicted, fought to preserve the Union and end slavery. Although the Northern and Southern economies were interconnected, the rapidly evolving and diversified Northern economy quickly outstripped the South at production, accounting for 90% of the country's manufacturing. Significantly more productive grain and livestock farms via the use of reapers and other innovative agricultural technology was significantly less reliant on the South and its large-scale slave plantations in order to produce its goods. With the innovative use of then modern manufacturing techniques, even with less cotton coming from the South, efficiency was so increased that the northern textile economy continued to grow rapidly even as Southern agricultural production began to falter. In addition to increased efficiency making up for reduced Southern output, increased global connectivity allowed for large amounts of cotton used in northern textile mills to be sourced from abroad, such as from British India and British Egypt, as well as from Brazil. The developments of farming techniques in these countries greatly reduced the near monopoly the American South had on the cash crop that powered their entire economy. With these factors eventually making the North capable of surviving and thriving without slavery, Northern interests eventually grew less and less aligned with the institution of slavery in the South, as the abolitionist movement became more popular in the North. The war shattered the bonds of slavery, but the legacy of this interdependence lingered, laying the groundwork for America's rise as an economic powerhouse and leaving an indelible scar on the nation's soul. In conclusion, today we reflect on the profound and painful truths that underpin our nation's story. The tale of Southern cotton and Northern mills is one of wealth built on the oppression of the enslaved, of progress marred by exploitation, and of the nation's struggle to reconcile its lofty ideals with its harsh realities. In Chicopee, the factory girls' labor for too long made possible by the forced labor of enslaved people in the South highlights this complexity and interdependence. This story serves as a reminder of the resilience of those who suffered and the enduring impact of their labor on the fabric of our nation. As we continue to grapple with the ramifications of this legacy, we're called to acknowledge the long intertwined fates of the Southern plantations and Northern mills, and the people, both enslaved and free, who toiled within them. My name is Farrah Saunders with the Racial Justice Collaborative, and thank you for coming.